Elena, a woman in pursuit of connection, frequently sensed the heavy burden of loneliness resting upon her heart. Her husband Damien was an unyielding entrepreneur, completely consumed by his aspirations. While she found herself enchanted by his unwavering ambition, her heart longed for the gentle moments that felt perpetually elusive. A fleeting touch of fingertips or a gaze that conveyed an entire world of understanding regarding her existence. As time went on, their bond settled into a dull rhythm, devoid of excitement or fervor. Elena's days intertwined into a haunting tapestry within their vast home, where silence enveloped her like a shroud, and her own tumultuous thoughts reverberated in the void. The atmosphere transformed entirely when Lucas, a long-lost friend from her past, reappeared after years of absence. At 25, Lucas exuded an irresistible charm, his self-assurance illuminating the room and captivating all who crossed his path. Yet there was a subtle yearning in his gaze, suggesting the intricate layers of his heart. He had just come back from his studies overseas, surrounded by an enigmatic charm and depth that captivated her, pulling her closer as if she were irresistibly drawn to a flickering light. Elena sensed an irresistible attraction as his laughter resonated throughout the house, turning its previously empty corners into a space filled with warmth and yearning. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, enabling me to craft more enchanting stories that resonate with emotion and delve into the intricacies of love and desire. Be sure to watch this video all the way through and give it a thumbs up, for this story is sure to be profoundly engaging. On a fateful evening, after the comforting embrace of the shower had enveloped her, Elena found herself before the mirror, her heart racing as she dried her hair, ensnared in thoughts that both exhilarated and haunted her. With a tentative breath, she stood before the mirror, brushing a loose strand of hair from her face, the quiet stillness of the room echoing the conflict in her heart, letting it flow down her shoulders before it gently settled onto the bed, a testament to her yielding to the moment. For a brief instant, she lingered before the mirror, ensnared in contemplation, her breath escaping in soft sighs as she grappled with unvoiced feelings. Draped in a simple robe, she stared into her reflection, lost in the whirlwind of emotions swirling within her. She felt an intricate blend of vulnerability and freedom envelop her in the sanctuary of her room. In an instant, the door creaked open, and Elena whirled around, a surge of instinct driving her to protect herself from the unforeseen intrusion. Lucas? Her breath hitched in her throat. His face flushed a deep crimson as he turned away, though his gaze lingered for a heartbeat longer than decorum permitted. My heart quickened as he spoke, his voice imbued with a raw vulnerability that pulled at the very essence of my being. My apologies, I believed you were downstairs, he whispered, the burden of his embarrassment lingering palpably in the space that separated us. Her heart raced, a chaotic mix of shame and an undeniable yearning that swirled within her, both fleeting and intoxicating. You need to knock, she murmured, her voice a soft whisper, tinged with a deep, unvoiced yearning. I'm sorry, Lucas whispered, his voice laden with remorse. I'll go, he murmured, though his feet remained firmly planted. Instead, his eyes found hers once more, revealing a chaotic mix of regret and a silent yearning. Lucas? Elena commenced, her voice gentle but tinged with an underlying intensity. Please, just close the door. It's fine, he acquiesced, gently shutting the door while hesitating, caught in the delicate balance between obligation and longing. I never meant to impose, he murmured, his eyes lowered, yet you linger in my thoughts without cease. Elena remained motionless, her heart pounding fiercely. What are you trying to convey? She asked softly, her voice barely above a whisper. Lucas advanced, a spark of resolve kindling inside him as the burden of their silent bond lingered palpably in the atmosphere. I've always held a profound admiration for you, Elena, he confessed, yet now that I find myself here once more, my feelings have evolved into something far more intense. Your presence enchants me, pulling my attention in a manner I find utterly irresistible. Elena sensed a tightness in her throat, the atmosphere around them thick with unspoken longings and the burden of their situation. Lucas, this seems to tread a path we cannot overlook, she whispered, doubt threading through her tone. He interrupted the moment. Yet why does it feel so fated? Before she could speak, He appeared, his hand brushing against her arm. Instead, she locked eyes with him, her resolve fracturing like delicate crystal. "You're still so naive, you fail to understand the gravity of your words," she murmured, her voice quivering with uncertainty. He replied with a clear understanding of his expression. "You are deserving of profound longing and love." His words dismantled the fortress she had so meticulously constructed. As he approached, she felt an irresistible pull. Their hands brushed, lingering a moment too long. As their eyes locked with unspoken meaning, a spark igniting as desire wrapped around them both. Lucas's hands rested on her waist, his hold a blend of strength and gentleness, as if he were afraid to break the spell that enveloped them. Elena yielded to the moment, her arms wrapping around his neck, as the world dissolved in the warmth of their embrace. After an eternity, a spark flickered to life within her, stirring emotions of yearning, vibrancy, and a profound sense of being cherished. As they parted with great reluctance, their breaths came in uneven, heavy gasps. Elena's voice trembled as she mustered the courage to finally speak. "Lucas," she murmured, "this is not right," he whispered in response. And yet here they stood, foreheads pressed together, the gravity of their decisions palpable in the atmosphere. Elena shut her eyes, ensnared in the chaos of her heart's desire and the unyielding murmur of prudence. As Lucas gently cradled her cheek, she felt an undeniable shift in the air, a moment that would irrevocably change the trajectory of their lives. She stepped back, her arms encircling herself in a protective embrace, as the weight of the moment descended upon her, filling her heart with a heaviness of unvoiced feelings. Her heart raced with fervor, each beat resonating in her ears, overwhelming the tumult of her thoughts. Lucas lingered in place, his breath uneven, his gaze aflame with a fervor that hinted at hidden longings. "We can't," she whispered again, but the words brought no comfort to either of their souls. "This sensation is profoundly unsettling." Lucas approached, his voice a gentle touch, yet unwavering. "Admit to me that you felt no spark." "Elena, inform me that what we experience is merely a transient notion." He took her hands, guiding them to rest against his chest, where his heart beat with the weight of his feelings, their bond growing stronger with every fleeting instant. She paused, doubt swirling in her thoughts as she stepped back, wrestling with the gravity of the moment, the world around them blurring as they yielded to the fervor of their bond. Briefly overlooking the barriers that kept them apart, she looked up at him, her lips trembling as she awaited a reply, the gravity of their silent bond lingering palpably in the atmosphere. The truth loomed large, unavoidable and stark. "Lucas, it's not simple," she murmured, her voice tinged with a wistful yearning. "It need not be so," he murmured, extending his hand toward hers. His fingers grazed her skin, igniting a fire within her that was impossible to dismiss. "I remain unfazed by limitations, unaffected by the judgments of those around me. My emotions for you are profound." Elena pulled her hand back, encircling her arms around herself, creating a shield against the tumult of emotions churning inside her. "It is simply not possible. I understand your words. This situation is fraught with danger. Lucas, for both of us, let us take a moment to reconsider before we commit to a decision we might come to regret," he said, his voice laced with tension. "Never have I felt such profound emotions. Elena, its undeniable presence cannot be overlooked." Her resolve wavered under the intensity of his fervent words and the warmth of his lingering gaze. She turned her eyes away, battling to soothe the storm raging in her heart. "You must leave," she murmured, her voice a delicate whisper in the thick atmosphere. "Oh, Lucas, I implore you." Lucas hesitated, a tempest of feelings churning inside him. His jaw tightened as he contemplated the repercussions of stepping over the boundary. Finally, he offered a hesitant nod, but the torment in his eyes was unmistakable. With a weighty heart, he murmured, inching nearer to the doorway. Before leaving, he took a final glance at her, his eyes laden with unquenched longing. "Yet, this is merely the beginning. Elena, I can feel it residing within you too." The door clicked shut, enveloping Elena in solitude, her thoughts swirling like a tempest of longing and unfulfilled desire. She sank onto the edge of her bed, her hands shielding her face as the burden of her sorrow enveloped her. What had she given up? The subsequent days meandered through a haze of avoidance. Elena immersed herself in a whirlwind of housework and errands, grasping at every distraction to escape the irresistible allure of Lucas. Nevertheless, in spite of her unwavering determination, she became trapped in the haunting memory of his touch, his murmured vows, and the fierce fire that had sparked between their spirits. Lucas, on the other hand, was not one to slip quietly into the background. Late one evening, as Elena stood at the sink, her hands submerged in warm, soapy water, she sensed the unmistakable weight of his presence lingering just behind her. "I can no longer maintain the facade that all is well," he declared, his voice steady, yet laden with unexpressed emotions. With trembling hands, Elena set the dish down, her heart racing as she turned to meet his gaze. "Lucas, we made a promise to each other." "No," he interjected, narrowing the gap that separated them. "You agreed, yet I found myself unable to do so. Please, don't make this any more difficult," she pleaded, her voice trembling with emotion. "I'm not trying to complicate things," he murmured, his voice imbued with a bittersweet tenderness. "I am endeavoring to breathe life into it." Before she could articulate her dissent, he closed the gap between them, his hands gently cupping her face. His lips lingered close to hers, filled with hesitation, yet longing for a signal to breach the divide. This time, Elena yielded to the undeniable tug of her heart. She leaned in, fingers entwined with his, as the flood of emotions finally broke free. Their connection deepened in the stillness, a quiet acknowledgement of everything that remained unsaid. Lucas's hands settled on her waist, pulling her closer, while the world around them slipped away into the realm of forgotten moments. After years of indifference, Elena experienced a profound yearning as they parted, their foreheads still touching, breaths intertwined and hearts racing in a chaotic symphony. "We'll find a way," Lucas murmured, his voice tinged with a blend of hope and despair. Bound together in a world that strives to keep them apart, Elena shut her eyes, a pang of sorrow in her heart. Yet she found herself unable to resist the irresistible pull he exerted over her. For the first time, she boldly welcomed the seductive pull of a bond that was as enticing as it was perilous. A temptation that proved completely unresistible. The subsequent days danced by, each moment steeped in a quiet intensity and yearning that lingered in the air. Each encounter between Elena and Lucas was charged with an unmistakable energy, a pull neither could evade. In the muted glow of the kitchen, their gazes intertwined for an instant, a flicker of connection igniting in the stillness. Every meeting was steeped in a silent intensity, their fingertips brushing gently as they moved through the tight corridor, a poignant echo of possibilities forever out of reach. Though Elena initially stood her ground, the walls she had built around her heart began to crumble, piece by piece. On a tranquil evening, as the outside world slipped into a peaceful quiet, Lucas found Elena deep in contemplation on the porch swing, her isolation reflecting the unvoiced tension that lingered between them. The warm summer air wrapped around them, the distant chirping of crickets resonating in the quiet, a poignant reminder of the life beyond their hidden sanctuary. As he approached, she raised her eyes, her face illuminated by the soft radiance of the porch light. A moment frozen in time, laden with unvoiced desire. Sleep slipped through her fingers as he spoke, his voice a soft whisper, tenderly preserving the serenity of the night. She shook her head, inviting him to take a seat beside her, the atmosphere heavy with unvoiced longings and the burden of their situation. "My mind is ensnared in a labyrinth of yearning and sorrow." Lucas took his place on the swing, the creaking sound mirroring the heavy silence filled with unexpressed longings that lingered in the air. In a fleeting moment, they remained enveloped in silence, the atmosphere heavy with unvoiced longings and the burden of their situation. He confessed, breaking the stillness that enveloped them. "I've been consumed by thoughts of you." Elena faced him, her breath catching as disbelief sent her heart racing. "Lucas," he interjected gently, his eyes locking with hers in a moment that was both charged and fraught with danger. "Allow me to admit, you occupy my every contemplation. Elena, you have infiltrated every recess of my mind, and I can no longer evade the reality of my feelings." Her breath caught in her throat as she turned her eyes away, instead captivated by the dark stretch of the horizon. It's never that simple, she murmured, her voice tinged with a deep sense of longing and despair. It is, he proclaimed, his voice gaining strength. What we possess is irrefutable. A bond that surpasses the mundane. What purpose does it serve to fight against what is destined to occur? Elena faced him once more, her eyes a swirling mix of longing and uncertainty. For it surpasses our yearnings. Consequences await. Lucas. They could never comprehend the profound nature of our bond. Lucas's fingers wove through hers, his thumb gliding over her knuckles with a softness that hinted at unvoiced longings. The opinions of others hold no sway over me. My heart pulses solely for you. His words broke through the delicate walls she had carefully constructed around her heart. The walls she had clung to for ages shattered, and she yielded to the allure. Drawing nearer, her lips brushed against his in a kiss that conveyed a blend of yearning and tenderness. A moment thick with unvoiced feelings. Lucas responded instantly, his fingers tracing the nape of her neck, deepening the kiss that conveyed unvoiced longings. Their connection shimmered with fervor, a fusion of concealed longing and raw emotion. The swing moved softly back and forth as Lucas pulled her closer, his other hand resting on her waist. A quiet recognition of the unvoiced tension that hung in the air between them. Time seemed to stand still as they yielded to the profoundness of their bond. Their connection burned with an intensity that eclipsed all else, creating a realm where nothing else held significance. As they parted with hesitation, their foreheads remained in a gentle touch, breaths mingling in the warm night air. Elena's eyes fluttered open, her heart pounding as she looked at him, the intensity of their unvoiced bond lingering palpably in the atmosphere. This changes everything for us, she murmured. Good, Lucas said, a tender smile gracing his lips. For I can no longer endure the burden of pretense. Elena let out a quivering laugh, her heart ensnared in a whirlwind of joy and uncertainty. We must discover a path through this intricate maze of feelings. We shall, he pledged, their fingers interlaced, a quiet vow that challenged the very fabric of the world surrounding them. The night stretched on, but for the first time, Elena felt a glimmer of hope, a delicate conviction that maybe, just maybe, their love could withstand the challenges that lay ahead. As the weeks flowed into months, Elena and Lucas found themselves ensnared in a maze of profound emotions and concealed realities. Their longing burned brightly, but the weight of the repercussions of their bond loomed heavily, overshadowing their happiness. On a fateful evening, following a profoundly emotional exchange, Elena made the decision to heed the call of her heart. In the soft glow of her bedroom, she held Lucas's hands firmly, her eyes glistening with the burden of unvoiced feelings. We can't keep doing this, Lucas, she whispered, her voice trembling with a blend of yearning and hopelessness. Lucas's expression grew somber, the delicate hope that had once brightened his heart now flickering like a candle caught in a tempest. What compels this course of action? I was convinced we were crafting something truly significant. We were, she murmured, clutching his hands with an urgent intensity. It was a thing of beauty. But alas, it cannot last. The cosmos seems to conspire against them. She drew in a shaky breath, her voice quivering with feeling. My heart is yours, Lucas. Thus, I am compelled to grant you your freedom. He shook his head, his eyes glistening with unfallen tears. We shall forge a way ahead, undeterred by the challenges that lie before us. We must seek clarity, regardless of the challenges that lie ahead. For you, Elena, I would give up everything. Simply do not abandon this. Her heart ached with desire at his fervent plea. Yet she recognized the journey that lay ahead of her. You deserve a love that thrives in the brightness, unencumbered by the shadows of uncertainty and fear. You are worthy of a life unburdened by shadows, where you can fully embrace our connection without the heaviness of doubt or the anxiety of judgment. Lucas held her face tenderly in his hands, his thumbs softly brushing away the tears that cascaded like delicate whispers of grief. In a realm teeming with turmoil, you are the radiant essence that ignites hope. Without you, the world fades into insignificance. Elena yielded to his touch, etching the feeling of his hands upon her skin, as his tenderness sparked a flame deep within her spirit. Nevertheless, in the depths of her yearning to stay, she recognized that their story had reached a sorrowful end. They shared a last, breathless kiss, pouring every ounce of their passion and longing into that ephemeral moment. As they hesitantly pulled away, their foreheads remained close in a gentle touch, both unwilling to break the delicate bond that held them together. "I'll never forget you," she whispered, her voice quivering with a deep, unexpressed yearning. "You will always have a place in my heart," he replied, his voice laden with unexpressed emotions. With that, Elena retreated, her heart burdened by the heaviness of unvoiced longings. The chasm that divided them appeared as an unbridgeable void. Lucas remained motionless, his heart weighed down, as he observed her silhouette gradually disappear into the dimness of the corridor. Each footfall resonating with the silence of their unexpressed thoughts. He released her, fully aware that the gravity of their silent connection would hang in the atmosphere around them. He recognized that this was her way of protecting them both, even if it led to broken hearts. Years later, Elena sat in a charming cafe, the warmth of her coffee a comforting contrast to the coldness of her memories. She watched the world swirl around her, each moment echoing the remnants of what once was. As her life unfolded, the remnants of her time with Lucas lingered, a poignant mixture of yearning and reminiscence. Her smile was soft, a poignant echo as her finger traced the edge of her cup. The murmurs of their love remaining like a ghostly reminiscence of what once was. A familiar silhouette across the room captured her attention. Lucas. As their gazes intertwined, a palpable tension enveloped them, as though the universe had dissolved into nothingness, leaving only the heavy presence of their unvoiced longings. He offered her a smile, a delicate mix of yearning and affection dancing in his eyes. She mirrored the smile, her heart swelling with a poignant blend of joy and melancholy. In that ephemeral instant, despite the physical separation, an unvoiced bond sparked between them, heavy with the depth of their mutual comprehension. Their love, fleeting yet profound, etched a lasting scar upon their hearts. And at times, that was all they required to persevere.